Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Jefferson Highway Show. This historic highway was formed in 1915 by the Jefferson Highway Association. It runs from Winnipeg, Canada, all the way to New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's go! So everyone's so excited because we are going to DeSoto Parish in Louisiana. So DeSoto Parish, if I know it correctly, because I've driven all through there, we've stopped at parks. It is part of what's known as Louisiana's No Man's Land. Also, there is the Myths and Legends Byway. I think they're kind of part of the Gas Eats Trail. We're going to find out if I'm right or wrong because it is just such a beautiful area to visit, and a lot of history went down in this region. And that's what's so exciting. It's part of the Jefferson Highway, and that's how we are connecting with Charlotte Knotek today. She is the executive director of the DeSoto Parish, because we're in parishes in Louisiana, DeSoto
Right.
Parish Tourism, and so it's all about Discover DeSoto. So the website link is discoverdesoto.com, and that's linked in the episode notes. So welcome, Charlotte. How are you?
Good morning, Lisa. I'm so glad to be here and just visit with your viewers slash listeners and talk a little bit about DeSoto and its association with the Jefferson Highway. So DeSoto is at the top of no man's land, and you are correct. We're not on the Myths and Byways legend trail. We are actually on the Toledo Bend Scenic Byway.
Oh,
The
that's right,
other
and
one
I've
is
done that.
And
That's how
the
we
one you're
found you.
talking about is a little
Hmm.
bit further south in Beauregard in that area. So, but DeSoto actually is the parish right under Caddo. The largest city there is Shreveport. If your viewers are familiar with Shreveport, we are south of Shreveport, and the Jefferson Highway follows the route of Highway 171. 171 starts in Stonewall. That's the northern part of our parish. And the Jefferson Highway follows 171 to a point, and then at Mansfield, you head east on Highway 84. You take a left and a right, or right and a left, and it gets you back on the old Jefferson Highway, and that takes you to Pleasant Hill. And Pleasant Hill runs into Sabine Parish, the
Hmm.
next parish underneath us. So
Mm.
that's how we follow the Jefferson Highway in DeSoto Parish.
And you're also part of the gas station food trail, the Eats Trail, because this
Correct.
is something about, listen, the food that comes out of gas stations in the state of Louisiana, do not knock it until you've had it, and you will be, your belly will
Blown
thank
away.
you.
So the Gas Station Eats is a part of the No Man's Land Regional Partnership that we have, and it was created because you're right. Our Gas Station Eats food is nothing to knock. It's kind of the food, it's kind of comfort food, it's quality food. It's kind of the food that your mother or grandmother or favorite aunt would cook on Sundays. A lot of it is hot plate lunches, and then we have specialties running through the gas station eats like boudin and tamales. And in for us in the northern part of the gas station eats, we have a lot of catfish and seafood and fried chicken and lots of vegetables. We have a lot of
Mm.
vegetables on. A lot of people think, oh, that's unhealthy. It's gas station eats, but that's not true. A lot of good hot plate lunches that fill your belly and make you really happy.
When I was on your website, that I didn't realize is that your region is known for blueberries. And I
Yeah.
had no clue about that. Like, when you think about New Orleans has got beignets, you got the Boudin Southwest, Natchitoches has meat pies, and you come to you, and you've also got some famous barbecue places, and then blueberry picking and
Blueberry
blueberries.
picking, strawberry picking, purple hull pea picking.
What?
Minnesota is a
Purple hole what?
purple hull peas. That's probably a southern food you may not be. So
I
down
have
here we
no
get a lot
clue.
of purple hull peas and cornbread, hot water cornbread or pan cornbread. And if you grew up here, you grew up on purple hull peas and cornbread. So,
Huh.
and you don't even need meat. It's just you put, or some people cook fat back in their purple peas. Some people put okra. If you don't like slimy, you don't put okra in there. But I love okra in my purple whole peas because that's how I was raised. Um, yes. So DeSoto is a rural parish, and there are a lot of pick and eat farms, pick and carry with you. Kingston Orchard off of I-49. If you're traveling I-49, you can hop off and get, they're at the end of their strawberry season right now. Fabulous shakes and malts because they come fresh strawberries, fresh strawberry malts and shakes. And you can take home a flat of strawberries. You can take home a container. And they're about to transfer all the strawberry plants into fresh flower cutting. They're going to plant fresh flowers in that field and also purple hull peas.
Also, they also do flowers in the farm.
Correct.
So
They are
when they
starting.
rotate their
Mhm.
crops into flowers.
So cut flowers, that you can use for decoration or cooking or whatever. They have that now at Kingston Orchards. They're about to go in the ground and they grow quickly here because it's early, May, early summer. And then they will share that field with purple hull peas and it'll be pick your own, or they will pick and shell them and you can take them home and put them in your freezer and eat them when you want to through the late summer, early winter. So
Wow.
lots
Okay,
of
so
there's and a
I
lot of beef farms here too. If you want fresh meat, a lot of farm to table products, let's say that. A lot of our restaurants use local growers and local meat producers, so our restaurants have really, really good food.
The other thing is, I know that your area is big on fishing, right? That's
Oh,
that's something
yes,
that people, the outdoors is a big deal.
yes,
And I got the piney woods behind me, and there's lakes, the Toledo Bend area, the reservoir, right?
right.
All of that, and that
So we're
beautiful byway. So
Mhm.
fishing, I don't think I've ever been to Louisiana without seeing someone fishing somewhere,
Fishing.
actually.
So we're at the top of the Toledo Bend Reservoir and the Sabine River is our western boundary. Logansport is our
Mm.
city on the riverfront. Especially during March and April, there is a sand bass migration. And because we're sort of an outlet of the Toledo Bend Reservoir, it is the most fun, busy fishing you will ever encounter. My son, that's usually a birthday present for my youngest son, and I have been where he made my line catch two fish at a time, and we were just pulling them in. Children, it doesn't take a professional. That is a fun way to teach a child to fish because they hit anything. We get
Oh,
crawfish out of the ditches, the locals do, and
yeah.
that's the bait. You can fish from the bank in Logansport. You can fish on the sandbars in Logansport if you know where you're going, and it is fun. And you can have 5 boats in about a 5 foot by 5 foot area, and they're all catching. It is a huge migration. Around sometimes starts in March, early April. It depends on the temperature of the water. And you can keep up with that on our website too. We post that a lot. We have a lot of fishing tournaments, lots of fishing tournaments. First Saturday from March to August, there's always a fishing tournament on the Sabine River in Logansport.
Well, Logansport, so I want to get my bearings here because all in your area, I remember seeing like swamp lilies and just beautiful bayou areas. And I know one area you want to see the Spanish moss hanging down and cypress trees and
Right.
all of that. You've
And
got
that
that
would be
area.
Smithport Lake, correct? Like you're going to Rock
Okay.
Chapel. That is a privately owned lake, but it's where a dam is. You can walk out on the dam and see alligators and swampy and some people kayak there and fish out of their kayaks. It's a little stumpy to put in a motorboat, so
Mm.
it's better to bring a kayak or a canoe and fish out of that.
I know
You
what you
don't
guys
mind a
do
few
with the stumps.
alligators. If you
Oh, well,
don't
we
mind a
love the
few
alligators.
alligators. Yeah.
You know
They're
what?
not,
I
they are
just got my
well
chase.
fed. So in that Smithport Lake, they're well fed. So they're not that aggressive. So a lot of people are like, oh, alligators, but they are more curious than harmful.
I did just get almost chased by a mama gator, though. I will just tell you, this was in Georgia, though, not in
Uh-huh.
Louisiana, so there's a difference. Just
Right.
kidding.
Maybe
I
ours
don't
are
know.
a little slower and less
Well,
hungry here.
there's a mating season, and
Correct.
and you don't
That's
mess with
not the
them at that
time.
time. Not a
Absolutely.
Yeah, not a good time. But I mean, we didn't see her, and then we heard her, and we're
Yeah.
like, who was
We need to
I
get
thought
out
it
of
was a
Dodge.
lion. She's loud. But
Correct.
I wanted to say too. So, people go out in these areas and the cypress knees, that is what I remember in Natchitoches seeing artists would take the cypress knees, the little ones on the banks, and then make them into Santa Claus,
That's
little
right.
Father
We have a local
Christmas.
artist, Joe Hartley. He takes cypress stumps and makes Santa Clauses, and his are huge collector items here among locals. A lot of people do that. Snowmen, Santa Claus, any kind of folk art, they use the cypress as their medium. Yes,
That's
the
cool.
cypress stumps. Very cool.
And then the other thing too is, going on the water in Logansport. Now, is I remember photographing this, and I have this documented on maps and everything, but this is just, I've got to go back in my brain. I'm getting older now, so I need to do that. But I remember this park. There's like a riverway, and this
Right.
beautiful park, which has a wonderful playground, military memorial, and
Their
beautiful
Veterans Wall at
gazebos.
Logansport on the riverfront. Yes, there's an amphitheater there. We have a
Hmm.
Ricky Warren fireworks show there every July 4th. It's very big. It's one of the biggest fireworks shows in our areas, and the local firemen run it. It's a fundraiser for the fire department in Logansport. But yes, and they have actually built more things on that park that you're talking about. They have added a pickleball court and some cornhole, and the park is such a fun place for kids to hang out when we have festivals, because it's a lot of nice equipment, safe equipment. And there's also a river walk that you can walk down the river and into the woods coming off of that park. It's very scenic, and and if you go in a boat, people don't often know this, but the Sabine River, if you're in a boat, you can see a lot of bald eagle nesting and a lot of
Yes.
activity, and they'll hit the water and pick up a fish. There's turkey vultures, there are kingfishers, there's all kinds of birds and bird watching on the Sabine River. It's beautiful. And if we have guides that if you want to do bird watching and you don't necessarily want to fish, we have guides that can take you in places um,
I want to go.
that are so much fun. And it's like you're going into just a natural habitat, and it's quiet and it's peaceful and it's off the grid. It's like just getting away into just magical places there on the Sabine River.
The Sabine River is beautiful, and you have those big flowers that like hibiscus kind of looking flowers,
Right.
those pink, and it's beautiful. And I've seen, I think I actually did film a bald eagle there,
Mhm.
actually, what you were
Yes,
saying. And the birding, Louisiana is actually one of the top birding states in our country to go bird
absolutely.
watching because of
And
the
if
migration.
we in Louisiana just launched a bird website. I have it on my
Oh,
discoverdesoto.com, and
really?
it is a fabulous website for bird watchers. It has the sounds, it has their habitat, their locations, pictures. It's great for kids. My little grandson likes to look at it because it's very interactive. And for a 2.5-year old to look at a website like that and teach him about nature, it is very interactive. And I do have that on my Discover DeSoto
Mm,
website. There's a link there if you want to see that. And that's all over the state. That's just not in
mm.
my parish, but bird watching all over the state.
Yeah, well, the Jefferson Highway goes from Shreveport through you down to
Right.
Natchitoches through Alexandria, where they had the conference last year, the Jefferson Highway Conference in 2024, Baton Rouge, New Orleans. I mean, this is
Correct.
like an epic road trip through the state of Louisiana. And our goal is we love New Orleans, and New Orleans obviously is the first thing that comes to people's
He,
minds.
right. But there's
But
so
I
much
love
more.
this. There's
Yes.
so much more to your state, and that's what I love to
Yes.
showcase and tell people when they travel to Louisiana. Yes, do New Orleans, absolutely. But take some road trips. Go out to where you are.
Right.
Shreveport. Shreveport is home to America's Rose Garden, the
Right.
Rose Garden. It is our national flower. I mean, that's just over
Right.
the street from you. So there's
And
so much.
the municipal auditorium is the home, where Elvis Presley made his debut. He had a lot of
Yeah.
appearances there. There is so much history at the municipal auditorium in Shreveport. But yes,
Mm.
and history is really our biggest. Um,
Yeah.
uh, DeSoto was founded in 1843, carved out. Sabine and DeSoto were both carved out of parts of Caddo and Natchitoches Parish in 1843. Our 1843 log courthouse is still in Mansfield. It's the second oldest courthouse, I've been told, of that in the state. So it is still
Wow.
here. It's a structure that is still here. Um, a lot of our towns are old. For instance, Green Cane right down the road from me, incorporated in 1899. That has had a whole revitalization. It's a downtown district with a theater, local theater, has several plays there a year. We have a coffee shop, we have two restaurants there, a lot of boutiques, and every building is full, and those buildings go back to 1899. It's a
Wow.
great shopping experience. Cook Hill House is a bed and breakfast in that town. It's one of the oldest houses in Green Cane, 1850s, built in the 1850s, and a historical group actually runs it. It has 4 bedrooms. One is handicapped accessible, and it's like stepping into time in an old Victorian, very, very nicely furnished. And our innkeeper makes a fabulous breakfast if
Mm.
you want to do that. If you don't want that, you can go to the coffee shop and get a great coffee and food there. So Grand Cane is a fun little town to visit. And if you still
Wow.
like history, not far from that is Keachai. And Keachai, if you travel north, so now you're going back north on the Jefferson Highway toward Stonewall. If you go to Gloucester, Gloucester has one of the gas station eats sunrise cookies on the gas station eats trail, and it's a healthy version of a gas station eat. There's homemade jalapeno cheddar bread and chicken salad and sandwiches, and she makes all of her cookies homemade. And right down the road from that, if you head to Keachai, we have a winery, Kickapoo Winery. The wines
What?
are grown on site, and
No
they
way.
open on both. The owners work full time. One is an ag teacher, and he has developed his 10 acres, maybe more, of wine, Cabernet. He has Cabernet, white Rinds, all kinds.
I'm
And
coming.
they are open on Saturday, and a lot of times they have guest chefs and food trucks, and then they serve their wine, and it is always packed. It is a very hot destination for DeSoto. We get a lot of visitors out of town from there. And then if you keep going west, you have Keachai. And Keachai is one of those like secret places. They have 12 buildings on the National Historic Register, most in the Greek Revival architecture style. There is a Civil War cemetery where both Union and Confederate soldiers were buried after the Battle of Mansfield. So they brought them to there was also not the Mansfield Female College, but there was a female college also in Keachai, and they turned that into a hospital and morgue after
Mm.
the Battle of Mansfield. People can't really picture how many dead and wounded were in the Mansfield area after the Battle of Mansfield. And so they opened their homes, they opened the Mansfield Female College, they opened the Keachai Female College. All the big buildings turned into hospitals and morgues to
Wow.
take care of the killed and wounded after the Battle of Mansfield
So the Battle of
in the
Mansfield
Battle
was
of
part of the
Pleasant Hill.
Civil War, right? That
Absolutely. Yes. It was
yeah.
toward the end after Vicksburg. So now we're going back to Mansfield. Mansfield has a female college, which was the first women's college west of the Mississippi River, strictly for females. And it was open from 1855 to 1930. It is a fabulous travel back in time of what women, mostly affluent women, got to experience in Mansfield. And the curriculum was incredibly hard. It
Wow.
wasn't just let's make some crafts. No, it was incredibly hard. They studied languages, they studied sciences, they studied
Wow.
all kinds of mathematics. It was a teaching college to teach future teachers, but also, and a lot of the people in Mansfield were educated by descendants of these teachers. So there was almost like it was like you throw a rock into a pond and you have this, uh, what am I trying to say?
A ripple effect.
A ripple effect.
Hmm.
That Mansfield Female College set a very high standard of education in DeSoto Parish.
Wow.
We have really good school systems in DeSoto Parish, so we're getting a lot of movement in the North Parish because of our school systems.
Oh, so a lot of people
Moving
moving
out of
to your
Shreveport,
area.
moving to DeSoto.
Wow. Wow. So this
Caddo
is,
to DeSoto.
mm,
It is, and it's kind of changing from rural in the whole parish is changing with our oil and
mm,
gas and the pipelines coming through and the education system. The parish is not a rural, it's changing from a rural parish to an economic force in the state. And some
wow.
people don't know this, but DeSoto Parish sends the highest severance tax to the state. In the state of Louisiana, we send the highest amount of severance tax to the state from oil,
Wow.
gas, and timber. So that's the economic is booming right now in DeSoto
Mm,
Parish. Yes.
mm,
So we're
wow.
getting a new hotel, which is very, very in this, I talked to a lot of people in all over the state and there's like, we need a hotel so bad. Well, we're actually getting a hotel because the numbers are here to draw that.
Mm,
So, but Mansfield, going back to Mansfield, the history, if you go to the Mansfield State Historic Site, there's birding opportunities there. There's a lot of places to walk. But Mansfield State Historic Site is a fabulous museum. It is actually a Class A battlefield, which means it
yeah.
is a prominent place in the Civil War history. And they, so you have the Battle of Mansfield and then you have the Battle of Pleasant Hill. Pleasant Hill is actually like you're going into Sabine. And I don't know if you were with the group when Jefferson Highway came through, they stopped at the Elam Opry House, the little dog trot house. Do you remember that?
No, we didn't,
Okay.
I personally
Okay.
didn't get to.
That group got to Caitlin Calhoun, who is the chairwoman of the Battle of Pleasant Hill, which is the 161st reenactment. They have kept that
Wow.
going of the Battle of Pleasant Hill. And it's a very active group to keep that history alive. That little town is very, very small, and it's a dedicated volunteer group. Brings in hundreds of people the second, maybe, and really thousands, the second Saturday of April. It's a reenactment, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. It's always the second Saturday of April, and they have
Mm,
storytellers and live history and reenactments the second.
wow.
So
Wow, so a lot of Civil War history. So what
a
I
lot of
can
Civil War
imagine
history.
is because of the hospitals that had to open up over the Civil War and then also the morgues, as you were saying, that there's a lot of cemeteries
A
going
lot
on
of
too.
cemeteries, a lot of burial of those soldiers, yes, in the
Wow.
cemeteries. A lot of historical cemeteries in DeSoto. Yes.
Mm. A lot of people travel doing that. So
Oh, yeah.
what about the lodging? Because I know when people are traveling,
Okay.
you're saying you're getting a
Right.
new hotel, but it sounds like you
And
also have bed and
we,
breakfasts and
we
smaller
do.
hotels.
We do. On our website, discoverdesoto.com, you can look under lodging. We have three chain hotels in Mansfield, proper within the
Mm,
city
okay.
limits. The hotel I'm talking about is going to be closer outside of Mansfield, closer to I-49. There's a Love's travel stop that it's convenient for people coming off of I-49 to Mansfield or passing through. We have the bed and breakfast, Cook Hill Bed and Breakfast in Grand Cane. We also have a lot of
Mm,
bed and breakfast in Keachai, in Logansport.
okay.
Um, and they're run by a local lady who is very conscientious about her lodging
Cool.
and just the cleanliness, the safety of it. Um, it is hard to get right now because of the oil and gas work. It's hard to get lodging in DeSoto, which is a good thing, problem to have.
Yeah.
But we also have 550 RV slots in DeSoto. So if you
Oh,
drive a RV, you will have a place to stay. Right now, they're kind of full, not completely full with oil and gas workers. So you would have a place to stay in DeSoto.
mm,
Yes.
okay.
Or we'll
Well,
try to
that's good.
find you a place to stay.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Oh,
it's like, yeah, so don't, yeah, so plan ahead as best you can. So
absolutely.
that's really good travel advice for travelers. It's, everybody's like, "Oh, wait, what? You don't just have an immediate vacancy." No.
No,
And that's the thing is to just check in advance, and I think that's really valuable for people so they don't just show up on your
right,
doorstep and expect to be able to find a hotel room.
right.
But it's such a beautiful historic area. We have been to the state state historic site, the battlefield at Mansfield, and it was actually during like you guys had like a monsoon rain going on when we were there,
Oh
but
my,
it was
yes.
so quiet and
It's very
peaceful, and
peaceful.
birds.
It's very peaceful. And if you travel the Jefferson Highway to Pleasant Hill toward Dr. Palmbuff's land, there was a controversial Confederate statue in Caddo around the courthouse. They actually moved that statue to near the Battle of Pleasant Hill site. It's in a pasture near a historical cemetery, and they allow people to go and look at it and take
Okay.
pictures in front of it. And it's so peaceful. His cows, I've taken people, his cows just wander around in the pasture around that little monument. It's not a little monument. It's huge actually.
Mm,
And it took quite a bit of money and effort to get it out of Shreveport and bring it to
mm,
the Pleasant Hill area. So
yeah.
just it, history is controversial, but it's still history.
Sure.
And we can't change history. We can only learn from it. So I
And we
hope
shouldn't
what
erase it either.
no, and I'm one of those people. I know that there were injustices done to enslave people, but we also need to hold on to that history to learn from it and to
And
learn
not
from
do
our
it.
mistakes and not do it again. That's
Hmm.
correct.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I think is so important, going beyond the textbooks of high school is to go
right,
to these places. And when people are road tripping, because road tripping is, growing so much that
right.
it's a family affair, it's maybe family and friends, it could, all of that
Be a group
multi-generational.
tour. Yes,
Yeah, that
yes,
you get out there and actually go to these sites, you will get a feeling of reverence of what happened.
for sure.
And when we're not doing these kinds of travels, that human connection, I'm going to say even spiritual connection, when you go to like a cemetery. I remember at Fort Polk going to, there's this veteran cemetery.
Mhm.
It was beyond moving. It was moving, disturbing, because you don't want to see that many
No, lives
people have
lost.
lives lost through sacrifice, right? And
That's
so,
right. And my
and we're,
family's in
hey,
the military and he is stationed there. And so I really get that, the sacrifice. Now, as a military mom, um, my dad served in the military, but just for 4 years, and my husband in the Navy for, 4, but nothing like Benjamin has given. And to lose him and to see the loss of life in these cemeteries for causes people believed in, whether they were on the wrong or right side, that they believed in a cause enough to die for it. We don't have that kind of commitment anymore. And
mm,
that's when you say reverence, it's reverence for me personally when I meet those, when I go to those cemeteries and visit, it's reverence for them to have that kind of, I guess, the honor that they felt to even die for a cause that they believed in so much that they were willing to do that. We don't have many causes that we're willing to die for anymore. And these young men in the prime of their life gave up their life to die for a cause, whether it was right or wrong. It is
and a
very
lot of
reverent.
times, but there was a lot of mixed reasons for the Civil War, right?
Absolutely.
There was slavery, but there was also
Economic.
land, economic, and people
Yeah,
thinking my farm is going to get taken away.
sure.
And so there was fighting for the family farm. And so there were all kinds of reasons. And again, go to
Right,
these places, read it, you'll be there, and you will have more real information by going there as much as you
right.
can.
And a lot of the
Truly.
generals from the North, they were being pressured from the federal government to still, not, I wouldn't say still, how would I say, get their cotton so they could keep the English mills um, going. So
Hmm.
there was a lot of pressure um, to harvest the resources. And a lot of people in this area knew that they were almost being invaded from a foreign country for their cotton, their food, their so I think that's a lot of the anger behind, the Southern anger,
Hmm.
that they were being used by their own government to fund the war effort against them, using their cotton,
That's
using
a
their
that's a
resources.
that's a really good way of,
Hmm.
yeah,
So,
and again, when you travel, it's so easy, and I'm so glad we brought this up because we're getting to Memorial Weekend, and
Right.
we've got all these road trip shows going on for 2 days, like it's insane, and then we go into Memorial Day programming, and the one thing we keep talking about throughout these specific shows we're doing for Memorial Day is, we see things on TV, we read things in books, and we read numbers of people died. Oh, this battle, like 100,000 people died in this battle. We go, how do we even quantify that? How do our emotions, we become numb? So we just kind of go, oh, well, this is what happened. And then we make decisions in this very
You
dry,
did. Yes. Black
non-emotional
and white.
feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah. But when you go to a place, you start to absorb it from all over. And then you start to think beyond exactly the black and white.
absolutely.
And that even includes human black and white, right? We start
Absolutely.
to go, oh, I didn't understand this over here. So we don't maybe make split judgments that aren't possibly good, you know?
Absolutely.
So I think it's this the travel part. That's what I love about the Jefferson Highway and Louisiana. Your history is so complex, but boy, does that your complex history brings in some really good food. Every time I go there, I'm like, I better go hiking out in those,
Right.
those bayou
You need to
countries.
walk the gas station eats trail while you're eating the gas station
Oh
eats
my
trail, and
gosh, I
you're
love the
gonna
gas
gain
station.
about 20 pounds before
Oh
you
my
leave
gosh, I
Louisiana.
love the gas station food. Well, Charlotte, thank you so much for
You're
joining us.
so
There's so
welcome.
much, I know there's so much to keep talking about. There's shopping, listen, shopping, small town
Right.
shops, right? Downtowns.
Very unique
Yeah,
items. We
yeah,
all of our little boutiques search for unique items because they're competing with, Amazon, and they want special stuff. So it's really a neat place to come shop. And if you want to get off the grid, DeSoto Parish is your place.
yeah.
So discoverdesota.com. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. And I'll be glad to talk to anyone about DeSoto. My office number is 318-872-1177. If you need any brochures or maps or any kind of literature, if you're wanting hard copy, some people don't do digital, and I understand that. I will mail you anything and any information that you would like. So, and I'm
Awesome.
also a welcome center, so I have information from all over Louisiana. So I'll be glad to mail that as well. So if you want a brochure on Natchitoches or New Orleans, I have some of those too. So just let me know how I can help. I
Thank
appreciate
you
you,
so
Lisa,
much.
so much.
Oh, this is fantastic. Everyone, again, discoverdesoto.com. You're going to hear more about the region on Big Blend Radio and in our upcoming Jefferson Highway travel guides and magazines, Big Blend magazines. So, everyone, please stay tuned. And the best thing is to just go there. But
Absolutely.
make your hotel reservations first.
Totally.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for joining us here on the Big Blend Radio Jefferson Highway Show. The show airs every fourth Thursday, and we encourage you to go to jeffersonhighway.org to learn more about the Jefferson Highway Association or even become a member. You can also dig into the history of the highway and share travel notes with friends at the Jefferson Highway Association Facebook group. Follow our shows at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels!